Hi class, welcome back. This week we're going to discuss about presentation aids, and I would like to start by talking about why we use presentation aids. There are many reasons that we as speaker like to use presentation aids when we're presenting our speech. It's because it's not only helping us with our own process of thinking, but it also helps the audience to retain the information that we're presenting to them better. It also excites multiple senses. Most of the times we like to engage with multiple senses when we learn about something. So combining not only our audio sense but also our visual sense is a good way to engage with your audience. And then by engaging these multiple senses, we're creating this interest by our audience who are more willing to listen to us when we have something to assist in our presentation, to assist with our presentation. And also because sometimes the information that we present is complex, and having a chart or a graph or simply pictures or prop will help them understand and simplify the information that we present to them. So one thing that I want you to remember as you're going to start using presentation aids for your next speech is that aids are supplementary or secondary to the primacy of the speech itself. And what I mean by this is that you still the source of the information and your speech is the number one priority. So this means that presentation aids should be used and crafted in ways that affirm, support, or corroborate what the speaker, which is you, is saying. So do not let the presentation aids take center stage. Make sure that you is the main source of information, and that the presentation aids is just that, an aid to help you present that. There are four types of presentation aids. One is a prop, which is any physical object, living or inorganic, that helps you illustrate a main point of your speech. This is a thing that you show your audience. I had students who came to class with a prop of a tooth because she wanted to explain what constitutes a tooth and how that how we can clean our tooth and our teeth and our mouth better, and how we should use our toothbrush, for instance. So that was an interesting presentation. It was a teach speech, and I find that her use of a prop was spot on for that one. And then you can also use pictures, which includes photos, illustrations, drawings, paintings, graphic arts, diagrams, and maps that can help you introduce your idea, the idea of your speech to your audience. Another one that I have mentioned before, which is data and statistical information, such as tables, graphs, and charts, are mostly used when you want to present numbers or complex data that will help your audience to digest and understand the information better by looking at this statistical information. And last but not least is multimedia. This is sound and the moving image, such as you're playing a clip from YouTube about the topic of your speech. And you can do this. It's just that I want to highlight the importance of not making this multimedia as, a big chunk of your speech. So when, for instance, you're giving a speech that the length is between 5 to 7 minutes, make sure that the multimedia, the video clip that you're playing, is not going to take more than 10 to 15% of your time. So remember that the message about presentation aids is there to enhance your information, but not to deliver the actual information. Then I want to make sure that for that length of a speech, the multimedia that you're playing is going to be between 50 seconds to, up to maybe 90 seconds, but not more than that for a 5 to 7 minute speech. Now, when it comes to designing presentation aids, I want you to remember that audience members can follow only one information source at a time. So you don't want to crowd your slide with informations. Um, I want you to take the minimalistic approach when it comes to designing your presentation slide, because I don't want the audience to feel like, oh, they had to not only listen to you as the speaker, but also have to read all of the information that you provided in one slide. So make sure that the aids that you're using is not crowded or difficult to decipher, so that their attentions will not be diverted from your message. And then keep the design simple. Visuals that try to communicate too many messages will quickly overwhelm the audience. If you have noticed, throughout this semester, I've been trying to design my PowerPoint slides as simple as possible, because I really want to apply the knowledge that I learned from this chapter. The fact that designing presentation aids is important to help you as my audience retain the information is key, and I don't want to confuse you as you listen to me while reading the information that you see. And then these are the guidelines that are very helpful when you're designing your presentation aids. One is follow the 6x6 rule whenever possible. So 6x6 rule means 6 words across and then 6 lines going down. So you want to make sure that your presentation slide, just like what I said, is not going to be crowded, and there are, as few or as little text as possible. If you take a look at my slide here, maybe I think the first sentence is more than 6 words, but I'm still trying to make it as simple as possible. And then it's always important to use good grammar and to create concise titles, as well as allowing plenty of white space or visual breathing room. So if you take a look at this slide again, you see that there's a lot of visual breathing room in this slide, and that was on purpose because I want you to not be distracted and not tire your eyes. All right, and then the next one is the importance of using design elements consistently, as well as selecting appropriate typeface styles and font. Yeah, make sure that, for instance, your title is using 36-point fonts, and then the text is using at least 18-point font, just so that it's not going to be too small and the audience eye can still read them. And also using color carefully, because you want to keep the background color constant and limit colors in most graphic, again, so that you don't tire your audience eyes. And then last but not least, here are the tips for presenting with visual aids. A lot of the times when I'm teaching face-to-face class, many of my students tend to put their backs to the audience when they're reading from the presentation slide. So I want you to be careful of that. You may, turn slightly to look at the PowerPoint slide, but you should be familiar with what is written there, so you are not spending your time reading the presentation slides. You need to watch your audience. You need to have your front part of the body to look at your audience and not presenting them with your back. And then also with presentation slides, presentation aids, I want you to be careful of your timing. Public speaking is all about being on time, being punctual, and speaking within the time limit. So be careful of that and beware of the handout. When you're giving out handout for your audience, there is a huge chance that they're going to start reading your handout and not paying attention to you. So one thing that you can do this is actually towards the end of the presentation, you give out the handout so that they are able to retain the information that you presented, and they have something to remember your speech. And that way they're not going to get distracted throughout your speech, but they will have something. If they want to remember what you presented, they have the information in their head. All right, that's it for this week. Thank you so much. And if you need more information, please read your textbook about presentation aids. Thank you.